housing costs in the metro Atlanta area that are pushing teachers farther and farther, or further and further, I don't know which one it is, but they're pushing them further away from the schools that they actually serve in. So teachers that live in and work in, or teachers rather that work in a particular school system, can't even afford to purchase the homes in the school system where they work in based off the salaries that they're paid at the schools where they're employed. That's a problem. I think that if you work in an area, the area where you work in should be able to pay you a decent enough wage to be able to live in the area where you work. And so that's not the case with a lot of these Atlanta area schools. The cost of living in Atlanta, or the cost of housing in Atlanta, I looked it up about a couple days ago. I think the median price of a home, sales price of a home in Atlanta now is up to about 416,000, 420,000, somewhere around that range. It's just been climbing higher and higher, and a lot of teachers, educators, people that work in the school system, they just can't afford to live in the homes that are around the schools that they serve. And so that, begs the question that has been asked for so long now, why are teachers so underpaid? If you look at your taxes, if you're a property owner, you look at how much of your taxes goes toward schools.
One of the largest portions.
The largest portion of it is.
Oh, okay. The largest.
Oh, yeah, it's the largest portion.
THEE, the largest.
Yeah. Most of those tax dollars goes toward schools and teachers and education. But it's like, it's not ending up all in the teachers' pockets, obviously, but it's just interesting. It's like, where's that money getting wasted is really what I want to know, because
we bought all the students' laptops, and now they breaking them, and we got to replace them.
And I don't even know if
them can write in cursive, and their penmanship is awful.
And I don't even know if it's the students that's getting the benefits. I think, like, I don't know. I think it's some corruption, but I think that about a lot of stuff that happens with government, and even if it's not in every jurisdiction, it's in some of them where you just have some waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer dollars that ends up happening. And as is always the case, we as the taxpayers, bear the brunt of the bad decisions of our elected officials. So yeah, but
little to no oversight, and I don't think they get audited enough either. Who's auditing these people, if anybody?
I agree.
Where's the system of checks and balances?
No, I agree completely. And so I'll read a couple of quotes from one DeKalb County teacher that was interviewed, and she looked around at some houses that they had renovated in the area, trying to find that perfect home, which, by the way, that does not exist for anybody, but trying to find the perfect home in that area where she could be centrally located and go to her job in a normal commute. And she's worked in, different school districts and everything like that. But she says, quote, it's just very difficult to have that kind of cash on hand. And then she adds that with rising rents and utility bills, she's had to rethink her approach. With her rent nearing $2,000 a month for rent, she figured it's better to explore home ownership than continue struggling to save.
Should have been purchased.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Had her a nice little $250,000 house and had some left over for $2,000 a month.
You know what? Especially if she's been teaching for a while. It's one of those things where people were sitting on the fence for so long, like home prices were just going to wait on them to, buy before they decided to start increasing. And it's like, that's not the case. That's not how it works. I can't count the number of people that I told, you should be buying real estate. You should go buy a house. You go, oh, no, I'm not buying a house right now. Maybe I'll buy in a year or two. Pandemic happens. Prices go through the roof. And those same folks are now on the sidelines. I can't afford to buy a house, but when you could, and I was trying to tell you to buy a house, you was like, oh, I'll buy later. I got time. You don't have time. You got today. That's what you have.
Every market is a good market to purchase real estate. It don't necessarily mean that, if the market prices are high, then that means that you need to be looking at either off-market properties or properties that are not priced at market, either fixer-uppers or tax sales or something like that. There's always a way in any market. You need to be investing your money in appreciable assets.
So when it comes to teachers, a lot of them have retirements. Maybe it's a county or state funded retirement system, 401k, 403b, something like that. But generally they have retirements. Well, if you got a 401k or, some sort of retirement that you can draw from, those are funds that you could utilize to be able to cover some of those upfront costs of purchasing a home. That's one of the things that this particular teacher says she plans to do is tap into her retirement savings to make it happen. And she knows that will set her back financially. As she puts it, she'll have to start over. And she said she may even have to get a second job, which she has done in the past. But those are some of the steps that she is willing to take in order to make home ownership a reality for her. I know that tapping into retirement. Oh man, I just thought about getting down a rabbit hole. Okay, I'm gonna chase this rabbit just a little bit. When it comes to retirement, I read a book called Killing Sacred Cows, and it was a really good book that I do highly recommend people read. The sacred cows are beliefs, like a penny saved is a penny earned. And he talks about why that's not true. It'll be another belief, about retirement, or a belief about something else. And he takes these beliefs and he basically just dissects why these beliefs are not true. And they're generally commonly held beliefs among a lot of people. Well, one of the things that just completely reframed my whole perspective, if you were going to go into business, or if I were going to ask you to go into business with me, and I propose these terms to you, I want you to pay me as much money as you can. I'm not going to tell you what the return on your money is going to be, but I want you to pay me as much money as you can. And I'm going to take that money and I'm going to try and, grow it. And you can't get your money back until you reach a certain age. And if you do ask for me to give you your money back early, then I'm going to charge you for it. Would that seem like a enticing business, for business partnership for us to engage in, essentially?
Only if I was a desperate fool.
That is essentially that's essentially our 401k.
Oh, 401k, yeah.
Because you throw money in there. There is no guarantee on what you're going to have when you come to retirement, because you have no idea what the market's going to do. You don't know if it's going to go up, or by the time you get ready to retire, maybe the market dips down. And now what you had before has been cut by 30 or 40%, which is a huge haircut to take. If you saved up, let's just theoretically say $1 million, and all of a sudden you take a 40% haircut. Now you only have 600,000 for retirement. That's a huge difference. But
somebody's going to have to lose their life at that point. Somebody's going to have to die.
But I mean, it happens. It happens. People get into these situations and it's like, oh, well, you don't know what the market's going to do. You just blindly put as much money as you can into retirement. You don't have any say over how the money is managed. You don't have any say over where it goes to. You can't dictate anything with the returns.
What kind of funds they're actually investing it in, if they're lucrative funds. Because the 401k is on the stock market, right? They're putting it on the stock market? Or
yeah, they're typically investing in stocks or mutual funds or bonds. So yeah, they're investing in usually one of those three areas, bonds or stocks. But it's like you have no idea what's happening with your money and you can't dictate anything about it. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, and you can't get your money back until you reach a certain age. And if you do, we're going to charge you for it. We're going to tax you extra for withdrawing it early. And it's like, this is what replaced the pension, where people work a job for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, whatever, and they receive a pension at the end of it for the rest of their life. And it's like, nope, we'll do the 401k. I was like, now I feel like we are basically providing the funding for businesses at little to no cost to the business, because our money gets invested in the stock market, which now those businesses get to use the money.
You're definitely using that money.
And I mean, it's used to grow their businesses and, you know, whatever with their businesses. But now it's like, if the businesses go down, they don't have to repay that money to us. We just lose out on the money. It's like, if you invest money in a stock and that company goes bankrupt or goes out of business, that company doesn't owe you anything. You just lose your money. And it's like the same deal, you know, obviously it's to a company's benefit to try and do well so that they can have more people investing money in them. But at the end of the day, that company has no fiduciary responsibility to you as an investor. I mean, there is no fiduciary responsibility there. They're just going to take as much money as they can and try to grow their company. But
well, you know, the bigger the risk, the bigger the return, they say.
Yeah.
And all of it is risky.
You should definitely listen to that book. They talked about that as well.
So is that one of the cliches that they debunked and said that ain't true?
that was verbatim one of the sacred cows, as they call them in the book. You know, bigger risk, bigger the return. And he was like, yep, that's not true either. They say that, but you would not apply that to any other area, you know, of your life. One of the examples that they threw out was, if you were trying to teach your child how to swim, would you just throw them in the water in the deep end and then walk away? You know, taking a big risk right there, but it's a big return. It's like, no, you wouldn't do that with any other area of your life. But people say that in stock as if it's a good thing, you know. It's like, oh, take a big risk because then you'll get a big return. It's like, that's not exactly how it works.
You might get a big return.
And then you might lose everything.
But if you don't get that big return, there's no gray area there. There's no maybe, there's no, you know, it's either you get a big return or you suffer a large loss. I think there's nothing really in between there.
And I say most people don't end up with that huge return that they were hoping they would have. Because if most people did, then the system wouldn't work. If it was like an 80% surefire way to grow your money is by throwing all of it in this one thing. It's like nobody knows for sure. So in essence, it ends up being gambling. You know, it's like, oh, bigger risk, bigger return. So you go to Vegas and you bet everything on, you know, on one thing, essentially. Yeah, you take everything. I'm going all in on this one hand. And it's like, that's a big risk. Yeah, but it's going to be a big return. Odds are you're going to lose your money. But where did all these other colors come from? Yeah.
Yeah, they'll lie to you just to keep your money, honey.
Oh, they will.
So basically, this lady that work in DeKalb have to go drive from Alabama every day just to get an affordable house.
Yep. You're going to have to you're going to be looking at an affordable car in a minute with all the miles you're going to be putting on that thing. Like, you're going to need some car maintenance and work. And what's your gas bill going to look like putting gas in that car after a month of just driving way out of town to get to your house that you could afford?
I feel so sorry for this lady because she has gray hair, so she's obviously, not the springiest of spring chickens. Mm-hmm. And she's setting herself back to have this asset that I'm hoping for sure that, that she can for sure keep and hold on to. Mm-hmm. But one thing about this article that I found interesting was how they said that one of the solutions was going to be this Atlanta's Teachers Village. And it's supposed to provide affordable, centrally located housing for educators and seniors. But I'm like, it didn't mention the article. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Frederick, but it didn't mention whether or not these were for sale. Mm-hmm. These units are for sale or for lease, because at that point, to me, that's not addressing the issue, number one, and it has nothing to do with what the lady's wanting to do, which is she wants to own something. And just because it's affordable today, if I have a long-term lease, say that I'm there for 8 and 10 and 15 years, people really do rent places for that long. Eventually, especially if the landlord has an escalation clause every year, they're going to eventually end up paying that amount anyway, 2,000 or whatever. So, yeah, but I could not see whether or not
it from what I have read, it would be for rent, not for own. So yeah, it actually states in here, the Atlanta Teachers Village would be a mixed use development designed to provide affordable, centrally located housing for educators and seniors, which is what you mentioned. And it says that funding and construction were approved in 2021. So they're still working on that, the construction part of it and everything. But it says that the Teachers Village will replace downtown parking decks with a high rise offering tiered rent for educators. So it will be renting, these high rise apartments, I assume, or condos, but not that it really matters if you're renting them because, it's rent. And developers, it says, expect to break ground in October. So that's coming up. And the project will offer 197 workforce units, 227 senior units, and 22,995 square feet of retail space that is slated to be completed in 2027. So these are areas that they would be looking to rent to people, which, like you said, is not what her goal is. She wants to own. I feel like it's so hard to just not talk about folks. When I almost feel like, what was the purpose of like you want to highlight a problem where someone says, I want to be a homeowner, and you're like, look, you can rent this place right here.
They sound just like them corporate landlords. You will own nothing and be happy. Yeah,
it's like, I don't think you heard me. I really want to be a homeowner. I want to own. Is this thing on? Come on. It's like, I want to own my own. We've got an option for you. Brand new apartments that you can rent, and they're affordable. It's like, but I want to own something.
I'll take plan B for $5,000, Bob. What's behind door number 2? Because door number 1 isn't working.
What was that? You said you want to be able to pass on that rental property to your children?
We will definitely allow them.
We'll allow them to rent as well, as long as they're an educator. Or once you're a senior and they become an educator, you can share the unit, because by that time we would have jacked the rent up so high, you'll need to live together to afford it. This is awful. It's like, I feel like, I don't know. It's like whoever wrote the article, look, this is the solution to your problem. It's like, no. The problem was housing costs. She wants to purchase, not rental costs. She wants to buy a home. She's not looking to rent a home. She's talking about tapping into her retirement savings to afford all the upfront costs, not looking to tap into the retirement savings to pay rent. Yeah, I feel like the solutions we need are not the ones that are being presented. But I feel like that's the case with a lot of things. Like, when it comes to, let's just look at some of the stuff that she mentioned. She talked about utilities being higher, and utilities aren't going to decrease any. Inflation as a whole would dictate that utilities are going to get more and more expensive, if not just the fact that generally utilities are something that are only offered by a few companies in an area. You don't generally go buy a house, or rent a house for that matter, and pick between 8 different utility companies. Usually you have one option and that's it. In some areas you might have 2 options. And
their rates are only 10 cents apart.
Yeah.
And the one that's 10 cents higher gives you 3 months free.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they're gonna go up on your rate after that, 3 months or whatever. You
They're gonna
got to.
go up 25 cents. Oh, new rates just came out. Oh my God.
Bills are getting higher. So I mean, she talked about taxes, are getting higher, and taxes are getting higher. Which why I also don't understand is with these counties that are going up on the millage rate. Which, if you don't know, the millage rate is the rate that determines how much of the value of your home you're going to be paying in taxes. So what I don't understand is why are we increasing the millage rate when the property values are increasing, which naturally is giving you more money? Like if the millage rate is, let's just say, just to use a number, let's say the millage rate is 1.5. I'm just going to use a random number just to paint the picture. The millage rate is 1.5, and you multiply that by whatever the value of your home is, determine how much you're going to be paying in taxes. If the value of your home doubles, you're going to be paying more in taxes by simple fact that your home's worth more, and home values are increasing. So why are we also increasing the millage rate to have a larger percentage of the value of your home, going toward property taxes when the value of the home's already increasing anyway? We had this astronomical increase in the value of homes in 2020 and 2021 where everything went straight up. And yet we had counties, I think DeKalb County was one of them because we talked about it a little while ago, where
Yes.
the property
DeKalb,
taxes were just
we
going
did.
up. And it's like, why are the millage rate, why is the millage rate increasing so much with when the home prices have already increased a lot? If you can't manage the money you have that you're already getting with the increase that was given to you by the increase in home prices, I feel like maybe you shouldn't be doing your job and we should get someone more qualified that can better manage whatever funds are coming in.
Because you any street in DeKalb County, you drive down, you either doing this the whole time, like where $3 going, or you
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
Safety, public safety, and roads where these taxpayer dollars are supposed to be going. It's not going.
Mm-mm.
It's not going.
No. So, I mean, it's all going to the schools, and, I feel
And
like
the kids still read like this. And the cat said to the hat.
another thing that I actually heard about, I believe it was in the same book. But if you can actually research it, statistics show that even though we pour more money into the school system now than what we did previously, the students are no smarter or no better off than what they were with less money being poured into the schools. There was the example that was used was actually or one of the examples I should say, was a administrator that was over a private school. He actually spends less money per student. Test scores come out higher, and he pays his teachers more than what they would get paid in a regular public school. So per student, his school actually spends less money, but the teachers make more and the students actually get higher grades, and they're better off and everything. And so I'm like,
I'll put it just like I would tell my clients. And one of my brokers, she used to say, I have a 6% package, which is standard. I have a 7% package, and I have a 5% package when it comes to selling houses. The level of service that you get at a 7% package is going to be different than what you get at 5%. If I know I'm making more money, then obviously I'm going to put more into it because number one, I have it. I have because the teachers spend a lot of their own personal money on supplies, on materials, on educating themselves and other things to help make the classroom better. So the funding for these classrooms don't just come from the principal or the school administrator. It also enables the teacher, them making more money, helps them get the additional materials and supplemental things that they need to help teach the kids. But I mean, if you normally make $30 an hour and your boss comes up to you and says, "Hey, I need you to do the same amount of work with the same gusto, if not more, and I'm going to pay you $25 an hour for the next 3 weeks," you're going to get about 3 weeks worth of half tail work from me. I mean, that's just it. You can't expect people to make less and do more.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly why getting rid of a certain portion or a certain race, thinking that the American people are going to make up for those jobs, we're not. Most of us, we're educated, especially if we're native here. You're going to have to pay us double what you were paying everybody else
Mm-hmm.
to pick the avocados, to clean the hotels, to work on the construction sites.
Mm-hmm.
Not even because we're more qualified or anything, but it's just that privilege. Like, we know what stuff is worth because we know what we have to pay for.
Mm-hmm. And also just what I feel like a lot of people just are not willing to do. It's like, I have a garden. I don't want to pick anything more than what I pick out of my own garden. And half the time I don't want to go out there and be picking fruit, but you know, it's growing in my yard and I don't like to see fruit dying on the vine, but I don't want to be spending all day, 5-6 days a week picking fruit, planting fruit, picking, you know, whatever it is. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those problems that the solution's not gonna come because the powers that be, I feel like everyone's in cahoots with someone else to, you know, make sure that things stay favorable for whoever the party is that has the money. Essentially is what it comes down to, because it's like politicians make decisions based off of whoever's paying them. You know, you got pharmaceutical companies that are going to pay you to write laws one particular way. Well, yeah, they give you 10 million, $50 million, whatever. You're going to write the laws how they want you to write them. It's the same thing if the NRA lobbying, you know, you're going to write the gun laws however the NAR pocketbook says you should write the gun laws.
NRA, don't say NAR. Oh my goodness, we need guns.
Was it NRA? Yeah,
you
NRA.
said NRA, then you said NAR.
Oh, the NRA, yes.
It's okay, I knew what you meant.
You mean the National Association of Realtors doesn't go around toting
bang bang, my blood goes bang bang bang, I'm telling you.
After his last lawsuit, I don't know.
There's a lot of gun toting realtors. I can't tell you how many people say, "Oh, you need to get you a gun, honey."
You know what?
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. I'm not trying to.
There might be something to, you know, the NRA and the NAR teaming up, because you know, when you're going on these showings and you got some sketchy people, or you looking at homes in some sketchy areas, for your protection.
You're right.
The NRA's got you covered.
I've been very blessed and very favored. In 7 years, I've only had one situation where I was like, "Ooh, I don't really feel very safe."
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. It was just a feeling that I had, not necessarily because of the people who was there. They were young guys, and it's not like they had on ski masks or anything. I just felt something within me kind of jump, and so I hurried up and got on the phone with my friend, and I had him on mute and speaker. I mean, he was on mute, and I had him on speaker so he could hear everything that was going on. But I've just been really, really fortunate. But I know that's just not everybody's testimony. But you know, hey.
Yeah, it's.
Did you see the architectural artist renderings of this Atlanta's Teachers Village? I mean, they really on here. These fake people on here are really having a good time, working out and sitting in the lounge, and it's you know, they got somebody from every race, huh?
They look so happy.
They do, renting.
Yeah, you know, I mean, renters always look happy. If I'm a landlord posting pictures, I want you to know the grass is greener on the side of the renters. This is why you should sell your home, come rent from us. Let us take care of all of those expenses. We ain't really going to take care of them once you move in. You're going to have to call us about 50 times and file a couple complaints. But let us take care of all of that for you. and you can just enjoy life as it was meant to be enjoyed.
Tell the truth and shame the devil, Frederick.
Yep. So I mean, uh, anyways, I
Oh
guess
well.
yeah. I feel like that's a dead place to end it. Just like, yeah, well, I'm sorry. Sorry that
This is one of
sucks
the
for
most
you.
depressing episodes. It's okay. It's okay.
It's like, well, sucks for you. I mean, get you a different job. Maybe next time
Or more, you know,
you shouldn't be
tell people
teaching
from
America's
Alabama,
youth.
you have to start out at 2 a.m. every morning.
Get another
Alabama
job.
got some tea prices. She'll be all right.
It's like, get another job. You can shine some shoes.
That's exactly what this building. It's not the most attractive building to me. It looks like something that was built in the Martin Luther King era to me. I don't know how they have a building that's supposed to be finished in 2027, and it looks like something to me from 1960. I'm not even kidding. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, I feel like everything's. I said it a couple times. I feel like America's turning into a renter nation. I was actually looking at numbers of homeowners in a particular city in Georgia, and home ownership has been declining. Poverty is actually higher than the norm for the state. But as prices continue to increase and outpace wage increases, you're going to see that more and more. People who own homes are going to be doing what they can to hold on to them. And the people who have wealth and money, it's going to be kind of the pick of the litter for them, just being able to just buy what they want and then put renters in there that's going to take care of all the expenses for it. And people who don't have homes, it's going to be a wider and wider gap for them, or chasm, if you will, for them to try and leap over to get to home ownership. It's going to be harder and harder and harder. And it's like the longer you wait, it's not getting any easier. So the best thing you can do, I mean, obviously it'd be easy to just say, buy a home as soon as you can. One of the best things you can do really is try and set yourself up economically, meaning income wise. What can you be doing to increase your income? What can you be doing to increase your savings? What can you be, because a lot of people say, oh, live within your means. And I totally agree. Everybody should be living within their means. Definitely, if you can live below your means, don't live at your means, because then you're just, everything in is out. Definitely live beneath your means. But one thing that I think doesn't get preached enough is increase your means. If your means is 50,000 a year, oh, I need to live at 45. Yeah, but another way to live within your means is how can we get to 60,000 a year? How can we get to 70,000 a year? How can we get to 150,000 a year? And that way, you don't have to stay at 45,000 a year. You can live at 60,000 a year, and you're making 100. So you've got some excess there. But finding ways to increase those means, at least for the short term. And I'm not necessarily saying, pick up a second job for everything, because your time is valuable. And if you're always in this rat race of trading time for money, you're never going to get free of that, that hole that, this work relationship of, I have to spend 8 hours a day at my regular job, and then I've got to go work this side job for 3 or 4 hours a day part-time. And I'm, you're doing all this stuff. You're never going to break free of that until you figure out, how can I get to a place to where I'm not trading time for money, but my money is actually making me money. When I'm sleeping, I can create a product that I can sell, and that the sales of that product is not based on my effort. It's, cost you no more time to sell a $50 product to 500 people than it does to sell a $50 product to 5,000 people. Because it's a product that you created, you sell it online, they buy it, the fulfillment happens. Or if it's a digital product, it's instantaneous. They buy it and then it immediately gets emailed or whatever to them. So find a way to where you can break free from this, I trade my time for money, because there is always going to be that glass ceiling up there, because you only have so many hours in a day. And so whatever you work per hour, whatever you make per hour, that's your ceiling. If you have 24 hours in a day and you make $50 an hour or $25 an hour, whatever you make per hour, you know that's your ceiling. You can never break free from that. But if you get to that place to where it's like, okay, I'm going to create a product, and if that product is $10, $20, you could sell 500 of those in an hour. You could sell them in your sleep. You can sell them, whatever else. And it's not costing you your time when you have that product versus when you're providing a service that costs you hours out of your day in order to make that money. And you can't find any more hours. Your time is infinitely more valuable than your money is. So trying to find a way to break free from all of that, I think is going to be key, not just for teachers, but for anybody. And I hate to say it because there are people who teach that love teaching. But some of the people that I've seen that have been educators that have broken free from this rat race have actually created courses that they've sold. And some of them, they've created courses that they've sold to school systems, that school systems have purchased. Some of them have created courses and they sell their courses online to other people to teach stuff or teach better ways of doing it, because the school system's way of teaching stuff is not the best way. So they create a better way to teach math, or a better way to teach science, or a better way to teach engineering. Or, they create these courses, maybe it's music or it's language or sign language or Spanish or whatever it is that you teach. Finding a way to, hey, I love teaching, but how can I create something that now I can just sell this course, and the course has already been created. It doesn't take my time. I don't have to teach it every time someone purchases it. They just watch it. And that's the thing. Maybe that's
a book, a course, or a product. What we need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's one of the answers, of the solutions for a lot of people, but just teachers in particular, is just, find a way. If you really love teaching, you're like, I want to teach, find a way to get paid, without it having to take so much of your time and your pay being capped by whatever school system you live in that's not going to pay you enough to purchase a home. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. That's like, you love what you do, but they clearly don't value what you do, because they're not going to pay you enough to earn a living wage and become a homeowner to do it. So.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, I went on a rant there because I was like, oh, you know what? I have an appreciation for teachers, because I am forever in a learning phase. I recently just purchased a piano course. And when I say recently, I mean like 4 days ago, because I'm a self-taught pianist. But there's so much that you don't know when you're self-taught that I don't know, to where I'm like, okay, you know what? I stumbled upon a guy. It's actually Pretty Simple Music. That's the name of his business. And I started watching a bunch of his videos on YouTube. A lot of great stuff. And I was like, you know what? I would totally, I heard in one of his videos, he's talking about, oh yeah, I'm coming out with all this piano training, And I was like, sure, how much is it going to be? Because, everything's in this subscription model now. Everybody wants this monthly, recurring month. I don't want to take on another monthly charge, but I really did like his stuff. And it's a one-time payment, and you get all of the music lessons forever from the one payment. I was like, brother, you are a man after my own heart. One payment, and it was like $250. Now, I'm not saying that deal is going to last forever, so might want to jump on it if you're interested in expanding upon your piano skills. That was one of the things that I wanted to do. But I mean, you see the guitars back here, and I got a keyboard right here. But that was like something. And not only that, when he creates new lessons, you get access to those too. And I was like, that's amazing. Someone who actually cares more about providing people with value than just about getting rich. Because he could have easily said, you know what, we're going to do $30 a month. And $30 a month is what, $360 a year or something like that. And you're just going to keep paying that every year. He's like, nope, you know what? One time, $250, however long that lasts until he decides to change it. But whoever gets in, it's like you're golden. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm a big proponent of learning, and I like teachers. I like, people that are doing what they can to educate in a better way. I've got kids that are homeschooled, and we teach them. Um, so yeah,
I
it's
would love to create a course. I've been praying about God, God showing me what is a usable, marketable skill that I have that I could teach others that they would want to pay for.
mhm.
That's something that I really, really want to be able to do, because I think we all have something inside of us. We have books, we have courses, we have things like that, because God really shines on entrepreneurs. Business was his idea. I mean, you have um, so much business wisdom for business, even in the Word of God. So,
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
yeah, that's awesome for that, brother. That's awesome.
And I mean, it shouldn't be just, Disney and Sesame Street and whoever else that's teaching our youth. We need people like you and others who, from a biblical perspective, are teaching, truth to the children. Because if you don't have that voice speaking into their lives, then there is another voice that will also happily pour into,
Happen.
the next generation. And things will continue to get worse if we don't do our part to do better. So, I mean, I'm a big believer in teachers. I hate that they're not paid enough, but I also don't believe that the
Right.
current educational system has the answers that we need in the world that we live in today.
Mm.
I mean, the educational system as we know it was built for the industrial age. We've been out of the industrial age now for uh, generations. I mean, it's been, we don't live in that age anymore
Yeah.
where people just, go to work at a factory for 30 years and then, get a pension, and, you're just happy just to get your check and do it. We don't live in that age anymore. Our world
Hmm.
is changing faster than many people can keep up with it. And our school systems are very outdated. I don't think pouring more money into the school systems is going to solve the issues that we have. We need people to step up and do what I believe, like you said, God has gifted them to do. And I think that'll get us in a better place.
Amen.
Well, that's what we have for you. Much better note to end on.
Absolutely, because that right there, that other stuff was depressing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
That's good.
Tuesday, Home Finance Hacks, 7 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. And then Friday, catch the next episode of Greatest Asset Community Podcast. Till next time, take care. Be blessed. We'll see you next week.